G'day ladies and gents, and welcome back to Cold Waters with Mags, and welcome back aboard our Los Angeles class nuclear attack submarine, and we are continuing with Epicmod. Now in the last episode I did say that I was going to, well, play through a couple of missions off camera, just to see if we can get past this missionless, endless patrol that we're on at the moment, because I'm not actually entirely sure if the mod itself is actually broken at this point. However, I had a few people in the comments say, no, just keep playing. Just keep playing and keep sinking stuff. So, fair enough, we're just going to continue as is. We have left our port, we've resupplied, so we've got a fresh load of torpedoes on board, and we've just intercepted this Soviet submarine patrol just outside of the coast of Norway. Seems to be a pretty good spot. It's nice and close for us to actually capture. So I actually should probably start trying to identify some of these. I have a sneaking suspicion that Sierra 1 here is actually going to be a surface ship. I just have a feeling. Yeah, that's what I thought. He actually looks like it is a merchant too, and not a trawler.
Sierra 1 is classified as merchant.
Check Sierra 3 quickly. No ID, not sure. Sierra 2. Now Sierra 2, I actually think will be a sub. We're having a bit of trouble picking it up. No, I'm pretty sure that is a sub. Romeo. Could be a Foxtrot. I'll be disappointed if it's a Foxtrot, to be perfectly honest. So anyways, what is our current depth? We are at 150 feet. Just under a thermal layer. Now we do actually have a floor here, which is going to be real interesting. With how wide the torpedoes track in Epicmod, 643 feet, which means that pretty much any Soviet torpedo launched will be able to pick us up regardless of what our depth is. So the only way to avoid these things will be to,
steady course.
well, countermeasures, trying to dislodge them and get them to link onto something else, or to get past any torpedoes fired at us before they have a chance to actually lock onto us, so they just go off into the deep blue nether. We'll never avoid them. It was taking, well, you've seen the previous videos, it takes about a maneuvering area of about 800 feet to successfully avoid one of the torpedoes in this mod, and we've only got 648 feet to play with. So that's not good. Not what I want. So we're not going to avoid counterfire, we just need to avoid having that counterfire actually lock onto us. Now this one I'm not sure about. Sierra 3. Yeah. I'm not sure. Nothing's quite lining up on the double lines here at the start. We need 2. So that's getting close. Ah! It's an oil rig.
Con sonar, Sierra 3 is classified as...
Well, that's not something we're going to have to worry about too much. I don't think that's going to be maneuvering on us. So yeah, that leaves Sierra 2 as being our submarine. The question is, what submarine? So we got 2 distinctive forward and 1... for the back. It's really a case of what lines up here is going to be whiskey. Hey, that lined up better.
Con sonar, Sierra 2 is classified as submerged.
Alright, so whiskey. Passive and active, 13 knots. God, you are so dead. That's actually disappointing. I was hoping for something with a little bit more teeth. But 109 decibels. What's our ambient? 77. Yeah, that could explain why it was having a little bit of time for us to actually pick it up, and we didn't actually get a good reading on it until we had the towed array out. So 41%. Now it's a question. It's moving away from us. It has no idea that we are here. So how about we just kill it? What is our depth? Target whiskey. It's running just under the duct. Let's change depth. 50 feet. As much as this is going to have us... well, we don't actually want... It doesn't have to be 50 feet. It just has to be above the layer. Which is at 120, so 100 feet will be fine. That'll be far enough. I just need to get the torpedo tubes up.
Sonar new contact bearing 278 designated Sierra 4.
Oh, really? What are you then? We didn't pick that up until we started breaching the thermal layer. I'm guessing surface... Actually, just double check first. No. Alright, I'm guessing surface ship, because we couldn't detect it until we went through the layer. Well, that is... No. It's not an oil rig. Got a line here and a line here that we're trying to line up on. Merchant, yeah, surface ship.
Con sonar Sierra
Wait,
4 is
no.
classified as merchant.
Match, 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 match. I'll assume merchant. Let's just...
Con sonar Sierra 4
Second, it is.
classified as
Alright, second oil rig. Alright, whiskey is making a turn. Alright, depth is at 100 feet. Whiskey is making a turn. Alright, so I'm going to fire from the port side tubes. Just to be sure, I'm going to loop the cable around behind us. That will hopefully hide the launch transient. Nope.
Sierra 2.
Did not work. In fact, it did not work so well that I'm going to have to arm. Retract the cable. Change torpedo depth. Change my depth to 200. Cables in. Flank speed. Yep, I know. We're cavitating. Absolutely doesn't matter at this point.
Con sonar lost contact. Sierra 4. Last bearing 279. Passing 200 feet. Con sonar lost contact. Sierra 2.
Going active.
Course. Con sonar passing 300 feet.
Yeah, the whiskey's only about here. Torpedo's nearly on it. There it is.
Passing 400 feet.
Second torpedo is launched.
2.
That one will have a much better idea on where we are.
Con sonar no longer cavitating.
Yep. We've lost the wire, but that's fine. Our torpedo will be heading straight in on target. Now I'm playing a game of chicken with these torpedoes. As I said, we don't have room to maneuver here, and even though this is only a whiskey, its torpedoes are just as dangerous as anybody else's, so we need to close distance on this thing as quickly as we can. We need to get past before it goes active. If we don't, well, we need to charge it anyway, because I'm going to have to use the whiskey as a countermeasure. Yeah, I know. Depth's coming up.
Come right to 266 helm high.
Just need to keep an eye on that and make sure we don't bottom out, because at this speed, we hit the bottom, we crush the hull.
Come right to.
This is going to seem crazy, but I'm going to turn towards the torpedo here, because there's the second torpedo it fired.
Con helm steady course.
We need to get...
Transmit from
There's
Sierra
third.
2.
Yeah, at this point we need to get as far north. We've managed to dodge this one. Now we need to get far enough out of this one's cone that it does not detect us on its sweep back. And we need to position sideways far enough that whatever this whiskey just fired doesn't get us. Yeah, I don't think it's going to get another torpedo off, so that shouldn't be an issue. I think she's just about done.
Con sonar contact Sierra 2. Last bearing 256. Contact breaking up.
Nice and easy. .730 below the keel, so we're still good.
Come left 2.
Go left. I want to just get up to here, run flank for another small burst, just to make sure we're clear of the other torpedoes, and we should be okay. Nope, maybe not.
Come right.
Let's... Actually, no, make a hard left.
221 helm high.
No, that's on a spiral. Let's go...
Come right to 359 helm high.
Less than 50 feet below the keel.
Yeah, that's alright.
Make
Make
depth 15.
depth 300 on silent.
Con sonar switching to passive search.
Once we're clear of the bottom, I'll drop the total ray just so I can make sure this is the only 3 torpedoes. We may have just positioned ourselves nicely in between them all.
Con sonar regained contact on Sierra 3 bearing 327.
We've just re-picked up an oil rig. That's yeah, we've got a great sonar operator. He managed to detect an oil rig. Well done. Oh, we'll just confirm this is nice and clear. Just make everything nice and neutral here at the moment. And yeah, I think that is it. So all we've got to do now is basically wait for these torpedoes to burn out, which could take a couple of minutes before they'll actually clear. But otherwise, we're done. We're pretty good. I have no idea why the whiskey put a torpedo up here. Well, there goes one. That actually self-destructed really quickly. I'm not entirely sure why. Yeah, that one makes sense. It was firing for our torpedo. That one makes sense. It was firing for where it first detected us. That one, I have no idea what the hell it was shooting at. Alright, so no vessels nearby, no weapons, no flooding. Leave combat. So, we only got 1 whiskey, and that's all there was in the area, and we fired 1 torpedo. So, pretty straightforward. Are we going to get a mission? Continue to complete the tasks. And the task is just go find more shit to sink. So, there was a submarine this way that was heading north. There it is. It's making a fast run up through the Norwegian Sea. So we'll see if we can get ahead of it, because I do not want to approach it at 20 knots. It is a submarine. Come on. I think it just turned around and got us. Yep, and we're at 20 knots. God damn it. Alright. Alright, we have a third target that's just popped up, and that one is actively pinging. We know that is hostile. Alright, what? Oh. Okay, that just got fun. And we're going to need to do with that one first, because it's close. All torpedoes? Yeah, there's no point in being quiet now. We're surrounded. Oh, crap. Wait, no, that's a merchant. Oh, no matter. What's that one? What's Sierra 2? Sierra 2 is also a merchant. Okay, we better probably make sure both torpedoes are actually just heading towards the Victor then. Alright, we're not surrounded. That's alright. It's 2 surface merchants. We're good. So I'm going to fire a Moss. Reload the Moss and torpedoes active. That's relatively close. Relatively. I'm surprised I can't see its torpedoes at this point, to be perfectly honest. Because it definitely fired at me. And it's currently running at 29 knots. Alright, let's take it to flank ourselves. Yeah, not the greatest entry to this one with a 20 knot starting speed, but we should be fine, I think. My biggest concern is I can't see the torpedoes that it's just fired. I know they're there. I know it fired. Yep, that's alright. That's alright, that's alright. And there goes the second one. That's right, I'm just going to follow the torpedoes. They're looking pretty good. The Victor appears to be running straight. I would have liked to put a little bit more angle on them, actually, beforehand, just to make sure they intercept. But hopefully they should get within the cone before the Victor can get far enough off to the left to actually dodge. So now our only concern is making sure we get past the Victor's torpedoes. Especially considering we can't. There's one. There's one of them. And the second one's already active. Alright, so we are dodging a torpedo, whether we like it or not here. It's a question of whether or not we're going to be dodging 2. 3, 4. 4 active torpedoes, or 3 active torpedoes, 1 non-active. We are... We may have fired that Moss a little bit too soon. Maybe a lot too soon. Yeah, like it or not, we're going in. Yep, 1 has acquired us. Surprise. 2 have acquired us. There's the one that hasn't activated yet. And it just activated. So we got lucky dodging it. Now, decoy. And let's dive. throttle out. Let's crank reverse. Moss away and flank speed again. Looks like that has picked up the moss nicely. The Victor is maneuvering. Torpedo is back, so I'm going to drop a noisemaker there. Hopefully this one will pick up the noisemaker, turn back, redetect that noisemaker, and then dance with the moss. Well, that's my hope anyway. I don't want it to go too far, otherwise we waste the moss. Both torpedoes have made adjustments, so they are both of ours are hunting the Victor. Going to have to dodge. Alright. And torpedo away. Let's go for the surface. Torpedo is changing depth. You can see what I mean. The sudden depth change is... We only just managed to dodge. Now we got to dive. Otherwise we're going to breach the surface and we'll never get it on the second pass. So continue the right hand turn. Full ballast down. Hard right rudder. Full dive. Drop another decoy. I don't even know where this other torpedo is. I'm assuming we managed to dodge it. Looks like they've re-picked up on the other moss. Continue right-hand turn. And straighten out, and we're just going to run dead straight. Looks like one of our torpedoes has actually managed to hit the Victor. It shouldn't have blown up that early anyway, so... And they seem to be tracking in on countermeasure and not us. So hopefully that will continue. Countermeasures popped. Torpedo is reacquired. It's alright. I sort of knew they would. It's a shame they didn't pick up the second moss and they didn't pick up the first. In fact, the second moss was almost a waste. Almost. It distracted them for a few moments, but that's about it. Come on. Right, here they come again, so... Hard right. Countermeasure away. Up bubble. And around we go. torpedo. And we actually have to breach the surface in order to dodge this one. And now straight into a hard dive again. On the upside, we're now behind the torpedoes, which is always a better place to be. Alright, so now I'm just going to straighten out. Because the next one we're going to do in a dive. Rather than going into a climb, the next dodge. Come on, Mark 48, you're smarter than this. But you can see the difference in torpedoes that I mentioned in the last one. You see these ones are straight away reacquiring almost as soon as they've hit a countermeasure. Let's dive down this time. And they'll buy the countermeasure and then they instantly reacquire. Meanwhile, our torpedo's getting lost in between all the Victor's countermeasures here. It's just dropping from countermeasure to countermeasure to countermeasure, and it never refines the Victor so long as there's a countermeasure it can acquire first. Oh, oh. We may have killed ourselves there. Oh, no. Just managed to get underneath it. Another countermeasure, so when it comes back around they reacquire that one, and we've got to go back to the surface now. And yeah, our Mark 48, which has systems on board that are designed to detect and avoid countermeasures and reacquire original targets, is lost. It has no idea what's going on at the moment, so yeah. I mean, it's fine. This is the way this mod works. And as I sort of mentioned in the previous video, difficulty levels in cold waters have always kind of been based around the AI cheating. That's just the way it's always been. It's kind of a limitation of the system itself. But when you've got to have the AI cheat this hard to find difficulty in the game anymore, it's probably a reasonably good sign that it's time to find another game, which is why this is probably going to be the end of the end of my Cold Waters campaigns. Hey, there we go. Right, let's go all quiet. Yeah, this is probably going to be the end of my Cold Waters campaigns after this, because, like, what's left to do? I've completed all the campaigns. I've completed all the modes. I've played with pretty much all the subs. There's not much left. It's been a good run. But it's time to find another submarine game. Apparently there's a new update. I'm waiting for this torpedo to hopefully reacquire the Victor. Apparently there's been a new update for the experimental build for U-Boat that corrects a whole bunch of the issues U-Boat was having in regards to breaking my save games all the time. So it's possible I might even try that. Oh, torpedoes finally out in front of the Victor, and there's no countermeasures in the way. No, torpedo managed to get lost again. But apparently they've done an update on U-Boat, so I probably might pick up U-Boat again if they've managed to correct. Oh, there he is. If they've managed to correct the issue of every single time they updated U-Boat. It's why I actually stopped covering U-Boat and haven't gone back to it for a bit. It's not because there's anything wrong with the game. It's because every time they do an update on it, and frequent updates are very good, but it breaks save games, which makes it really difficult to do an ongoing campaign. But apparently the new experimental build has improvements for same game functionality or something, so hopefully that'll fix that and I can go back to getting my ass shot up by Sunderlands every time I go to the surface, because that tends to be what happens. That and, yeah, as I said, been saying for a while, Silent Hunter. I haven't played Silent Hunter in a while. I'm thinking Silent Hunter 4. It's all modded up, ready to rock and roll, and I do like the Pacific campaign. Mainly because nobody ever covers it. It's always U-boats. It's always the Atlantic. So I do like Silent Hunter 4 because it is the Pacific. And it gives me throwbacks to Silent Hunter. Micropose, if you actually watch any of these, please resurrect the Silent Hunter series. Whoa, there we go.
179.
It took a while, but it looks like we finally got there in the end. That's that one on that side, and I know we hit it with the other one too, because it takes two, so it wasn't actually a waste of torpedoes at the start. Yeah, it looks like the second one hit on this side. Pretty impressive that this one actually took a torpedo hit and was still able to dodge and wasn't sinking, considering what we've seen. Anyways, that's it. So, Victor 3 sunk, 7,250 tons. That was a far more interesting target. And we're continuing the mission. Alright, well that's 2 submarines in 2 mission areas cleaned out with only 3 torpedoes spent. I guess it's time for us to continue our hunt. Anyways, ladies and gents, hope you've enjoyed the video and thank you very much for watching. Cold Waters will be returning to the channel very soon. As I said, I'm going to one way or another clean out this campaign. Outside of the possibility that maybe the mod's broken, but I'm kind of hoping that it isn't and it just wants me to make a lot of tonnage before it advances. Regardless, I'll be back on the channel very soon. Until then, remember to click that like button if you did, share and subscribe if you want to see more, and as always, take care.